This episode of D-News is brought to you by Harry's. I thought about this a lot, guys. Does tractor beam come from a traction or from like a tractor that pulls stuff? Whatever. Either way, thanks to lasers, tractor beams are real now. Hey Trekkies, Trace here. Thanks for watching D-News. In the Star Trek and Star Wars universes, a standard trope for grabbing something out in space, be it a ship or a piece of junk or whatever, was the tractor beam. In science fiction, the tractor beam is just a given, but in real life, scientists are working hard to make this thing real. Theoretically, there are three major tractor beam technologies so far. Optical tweezers use laser light to heat the air that traps particles and creates a sort of conveyor belt which moves them around. That wouldn't work in space anyway because there's no air. Another uses laser light formed into a corkscrew shape to push things around, but they can't really make that one in real life yet. It's called an optical solenoid beam. The best design, though, in my opinion, is the Reversible beam. It uses electromagnetic, gravitational, or acoustical energy to move particles around. Unfortunately, they can't build one because it requires infinite energy to operate. Hashtag awkward. So, starting over. At its most basic, a tractor beam applies attraction force or repulsion force using only light energy. Pushing is easy to envision, sort of like a fire hose, but instead of water, it's spraying photons. Pulling makes me think of magnets, but we want to do this all with a single laser beam, right? Finally, according to a study published at the end of last year in Nature Photonics, science can actually do all this. The scientists used a new design that lets a single beam pull and push gold-coated hollow glass spheres for, quote, tens of centimeters. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot. Plus, they actually built one in real life for reals. This real-world tractor beam uses a donut-shaped beam to grab a sphere. Then, by varying the polarization of the beam, the researchers can push or pull a sphere and then reverse it, and all in one little donut. I love that they use polarizations like a Star Trek thing. The shape of the laser light is clutch. The tube surrounds the object, trapping it into its energy. The laser light is always moving away from the source, but the shape is important. When the polarization is radial, or along the spokes of that wheel, it forms this wall of energy and pushes the sphere away. To pull the sphere, they change to azimuthal polarization, or around the edge of the wheel. This creates a corkscrew of energy that actually hits the sphere on the opposite side from the light source. So it's not really pulling as much as it's reaching around and hitting it on its back. This is genius. Practically, it's not going to be useful for a while, but it seems like it should work in the vacuum of space and in the lab. It doesn't require air or heat, nor does it need infinite energy, though it would need a lot to, say, move a whole ship. Right now, they're still calling this invention optical tweezers. Do you even want this to be a thing, though? What would you do with a tractor beam? Speaking of tweezers, though, grooming is very important. I'd like to thank Harry's for sponsoring this video. Harry's was started by two guys. They thought razor blades were too expensive and they were a pain to get. The whole thing just didn't make sense. So they bought a German razor factory, made it so you could buy their razors online and get them shipped right to you in great packaging with great accessories, shaving creams, nice smelling aftershaves, the whole deal. I get a lot of compliments on my nice smell after using it. If you want to try them and support the show, go to harrys.com and use the promo code DNews to save $5 off your first purchase. Go down into the comments, let us know what you think about tractor beams. Make sure you subscribe and check out Anthony's video over there on J.J. Abrams' love of lens flares. It's pretty cool. See ya.